The first time I feel like I ever acted in my life was with Robin Williams.
Well, as genius as he was on stage, he was the greatest friend you could ever imagine. Supportive, protective, loving. It's very hard to talk about him in the past because he was so present in all of our lives.
Robin was born to entertain us. Spielberg told me that when he was doing Schindler's List on the site of the Holocaust, directing it, every night he would call Robin in Los Angeles and say, "Make me laugh." That's a gift.
He was even better as a person. He was even more fantastic as he's just the loveliest, sweetest, one of the kindest guys that I've ever worked with. Such a soft, warm, emotionally sweet guy, and it's a major, major loss for everybody.
You know, Ben and I owe everything to him. You know, he said yes to our movie, and he got it made. You know, I don't know, I could never thank him enough. You know, I look around at the life I have, and how blessed I feel, and so much of it started with him.
But see, that comes from being a pure person. You know, so you have nothing to hide, you just let it all out. And he was that guy, man. On stage, he was just run. And it was a marvel to watch. You will never, ever see anything like that again, ever.
I believe that was true of the kind of guy he was. People were drawn to him because of this electricity, this whatever it was that he radiated that propelled him and powered him. And here's a picture that I will now cherish even more than I had previously. There are 4 people right there. Wow. Two of which wildly funny, insanely funny. 2 are not. Beyond being a very talented man and a good friend and a gentleman, but what a guy, Robin Williams. We'll be right.
It's funny, you know, that my last line of that movie is, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," you know, which is funny. All of a sudden, the line means something totally different to me. People say that line to me, you know, for the last 25 years, right? And the situation of Robin, there's a whole generation that grew up with him. You know, I watched Mork and Mindy as a little boy.
Yeah, so did I.
And so he felt like a family member, you know. So it's particularly tragic.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of our Actor Director Spotlight series. And as you may already know, today we're going to be talking about Robin Williams. I mean, when you think of some of the best comedies of the 80s, 90s, the 2000s, there is one name that always stands out at the front. And we continually invited him into our homes because he made us laugh when we needed it. He made us cry when we needed to. He made us think about different things and made us see the human condition in different various ways. This video we're going to be discussing more than just his filmography. We're also going to discuss him as a person, how he battled life to become one of Hollywood's most beloved and iconic actors. So sit back and relax, but don't get too relaxed, and enjoy our spotlight video of Robin Williams. So as I said, we are focusing on Robin Williams today, and we are also having a few special guests joining us to tell us how Robin Williams affected them personally as film lovers, including a special segment with the film rascal himself, Manny, from the Film Rascal Show. Now for me personally, Robin Williams was bigger than life. He was someone who knew how to make uncomfortable situations comfortable. In fact, in many interviews, people who knew him best said that Robin Williams was born to make people laugh. I mean, we all know him, and even if you don't know his movies, you still know who Robin Williams is. But as much as a prolific actor as Robin Williams is, it's just impossible to cover everything in a 10 to 15 minute video. We decided to just cover certain aspects of his life and his career. So guys, if there's anything that we neglected to mention during this video, definitely do us a favor, leave your comments down below, let us know, and we'll discuss more there. So let's get started. Robin McLaren Williams came into the world on July 21st, 1951 to parents Robert and Lori Williams. After graduating in high school, Robin took some time off to decide what he wanted to do with his life. He just wasn't sure what career path, what he wanted to do. and where he wanted to take his life. He started attending comedy clubs and stage plays around town. During a play and some comedic routines, he realized that this is what he wanted to do. He wanted to be an entertainer. So with some encouragement from his family and friends, he decided to expand his sharp-witted sense of humor that he was well known for, and started taking improv lessons and diving into theater art studies at Juilliard. He loved the stage. He said it was a way of being able to express himself completely free without getting into trouble. And one special night, during his stand-up, he introduced a character he was working on for months, and he felt it was the right time to introduce to the world Mork from Ork. During that show, a talent scout saw his act and immediately signed him. His big break came with his guest appearance playing his famous Mork from Ork character on Happy Days.
You give up now? Nothing can top this. I put my two fingers together and the entire building collapses.
Now, wait a minute, what are you talking about? The whole building collapsing.
It's fantastic. Screams, Technicolor, everything.
What about the people in the building?
Wrecks them pretty bad. Kills a few, too.
And the reaction to his character was widespread. Fans of Happy Days loved this character, and it's the highest rated episode in Happy Days. The producers decided to do a spin-off series with his own show, Mork and Mindy. Mork and Mindy was a hit, and audiences loved Williams' unique and oddball sense of humor and performance in the show, but yet he also had a way to also inject dramatic performances as well and mix the two together.
All right, I believe that's true, but the way you're acting, I can't help but think that...
You're ashamed of me, aren't you?
No.
Yes, you are. Mork from Ork has never been called a coward. I've never even lost a holly tacker except for that one on Sirius, and how can you trust an eight-legged Pekingese as an umpire?
It was a character that audiences on TV never saw portrayed before, and it quickly became ABC's highest rated sitcom. The biggest charm of the show was the chemistry between actress Pam Darbar and Robin Williams. And again, Robin Williams showed that you can have this oddball character, but he can have heart. And of course, it didn't take long for Hollywood to come knocking on his door as producers saw his natural talent. His first feature film came in 1980 with Robert Altman's try at making a live-action version of Popeye with the Popeye movie.
20 simoleons on second rent.
What am I? Some kind of judge or lawyers? Maybe not, but I knows what law suits me. Careful they don't ruffle me feathers.
However, the film was panned by critics and audiences, many critics calling it a mess and a waste of talent and a waste of celluloid. Later on, Robert Altman admitted that one of the biggest problems about the production is that he just didn't really understand Robin Williams' sense of humor, his style of acting. Also, he said that the studio did numerous script changes. So with the mix of all of that, the movie just was so far off and it just became a very convoluted mess. After his run on Mork and Mindy, director George Roy Hill offered him the lead role in The World According to Garp, which to this day, many still consider Robin Williams' best performance.
You know what I really love, though? Thinking about everything. How we met. All that.
I can't live in the past.
I'm not. But I can live in the present and think about the past.
It really showed at such an early stage of his career what a brilliant actor Robin Williams was. Unlike the dismal failure of Popeye, Garp was a success, earning co-stars John Lithgow and Glenn Close nominations for Best Supporting Actors, and it got Robin Williams noticed by Hollywood producers for his charming and humanizing performance. Between 1983 and 1986, he had a string of smaller films that were modest hits like Club Paradise, but it wasn't until 1987 when we all heard Robin Williams' wake-up call.
Good morning, Vietnam! Hey, this is not a test. This is rock and roll.
That's right. Good Morning Vietnam was a monster hit and completely showcased not just Williams' brilliant comedic timing, but also his power as a leading man and as a dramatic actor with some very heart-wrenching scenes. Director Barry Levinson was amazed what Williams did, mixing his oddball, screwball type comedy with some real dramatic parts that gave the film real depth. And Good Morning Vietnam went on to earn Robin Williams his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, and it just catapulted him into stardom. After Good Morning Vietnam, offers started pouring in. He co-starred in Terry Gilliam's take on Adventures of Baron Munchausen. But it wasn't until 1989 a movie came along that completely solidified him into not just leading man status, but also, again, as a brilliant actor.
To communicate. No! To woo women.
Today we're going to be talking about William Shakespeare. I know. A lot of you look forward to this about as much as you look forward to root canal work.
Dead Poets Society. Director Peter Weir knew he needed an actor that could not only give a great performance, but also that had a lot of heart and charm to his performance. Dead Poets Society became another hit for Williams, earning $100 million in the United States alone out of a $16 million budget, and earned Robin Williams his second Oscar nomination for Best Actor. And then in 1990, with his portrayal as Dr. Malcolm Sawyer in Penny Marshall's masterpiece, Awakenings.
She has no other living relatives, and they say she has always been as she is now, with no response or comprehension. And yet...
A reflex.
If she batted it away, I might call it a reflex. But she didn't. As you can see, she caught it.
Williams co-starred alongside Robert De Niro, and the two created something very special between each other and their performances. Simon and I had never really seen a movie like this before. It had its humor, but it had some very dramatic scenes as well that really tugged at the heartstrings. And the story of Awakenings, if you don't know, is based on true events. And again, Williams wanted to give the real people respect and honor they deserved, and in our opinion, gave one of his best performances. In fact, Williams himself has said that this was one of his favorite performances out of all of his films. It's a movie that you guys should not miss. It really just encapsulates everything Robin Williams is. Next up, Terry Gilliam wanted to work with Williams again and cast him as the king in The Fisher King. However, this time Williams wasn't the lead, but the supporting. Usually when an actor has been blown up into a leading man status as huge as Robin Williams was, I mean, if you guys don't know, he was huge during this time. I mean, this was his heyday. And many actors who, at that huge of a status, they refused to take lesser roles as a supporting cast member. But this shows how humble Williams was. And to him, it wasn't about his status as an actor or how much money he got paid. It wasn't about the big payday. It was about the film, about the performance, and his love for acting and entertaining, which says a lot about who he was as a person. After a few years of doing more dramatic roles, Robin Williams felt he needed more lighter, happier roles to express the comedic side again. And in 1991, what better movie to do that with than to play Peter Pan in Steven Spielberg's Hook.
Who is that, Captain?
It's Peter Pan.
Now, even though Hook ended up bombing at the box office and critics didn't really like it, audiences were mixed, still everybody raved about Williams' performance. And it's become a classic today with kids who grew up watching it. And then came one of his biggest successes as the voice of Genie in Aladdin.
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck. Hang on a second. Wow! Wow! Does it feel good to be out of there?
Genie became one of the most beloved characters of Robin Williams' career, and to this day his lines are continually quoted, not just between friends, but it's quoted time and time again in different movies and in cartoons. It's parodied over and over again because it's such a beloved character. Next up was another outstanding performance of his, you guessed it.
Hello! Ah! Oh,
sorry to frighten you, dear. I must look like a yeti in this getup.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Now, I'm not going to get a whole lot into this because we're kind of running short on time here, and I want to fast forward to a few years later. But this was definitely a well-deserved Oscar nomination that he didn't get for Mrs. Doubtfire. At least I don't think he got it for Mrs. Doubtfire. If I'm wrong about this, correct me down in the comments below. Let me know if he did get nominated for Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm thinking he didn't. But either way, he deserved it. And if you guys have not seen Mrs. Doubtfire, check it out! You have to see this movie and his performance. So as I said, we're going to fast forward a few years to his well-deserved Oscar-winning performance as Dr. Sean McGuire in Good Will Hunting. Now you have to understand something. By the time Good Will Hunting was being made, Robin Williams was one of the highest paid actors in the business. But the budget for Good Will Hunting was only $10 million, which meant they couldn't afford Robin Williams' asking price. However, Robin Williams took the pay cut and gave us a truly emotional and inspirational performance mentoring a young Matt Damon as Will Hunting. They are absolutely brilliant in this movie, and there are many outstanding, brilliant scenes. It's hard to just pick one scene of his to show. Williams and Matt Damon work close together, creating not just the characters, but also a close friendship personally that seeped through the movie. Yet even though it was an emotional performance for Williams, Robin being Robin still found opportunities to lighten the mood.
My wife used to fart when she was nervous. She had all sorts of wonderful little idiosyncrasies. She used to fart in her sleep. I'm sorry I shared that with you. One night it was so loud it woke the dog up.
Matt Damon said that his reaction was only half of a real reaction he had to Robin Williams' impromptu monologue in the movie. The crew was laughing so hard that they had to go in and remix the audio during post so you didn't hear the cameraman laughing. Robin Williams makes an uncomfortable situation or an uncomfortable scene into a comfortable situation or scene. Genius. But guys, I'm going to screech to a halt right now. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to hand this video over to Manny with the Film Rascal Show. He asked me if he could just talk a little bit about one of his favorite Robin Williams performances and movie as a film lover, as one of his favorite actors. Manny just wanted to talk a little bit about a certain movie that he has always loved of Robin Williams.
Thanks for having me on. Now, the movie that I'm going to focus on was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, the man who gave us The Godfathers Part 1, 2, and Apocalypse Now. And that movie, of course, was released in August of '96, and it's called Jack. Now, Jack is the story of a boy who is growing normally, but at 4 times the normal rate. A 10-year-old boy who appears to be a fully grown man in his 40s. Now, if anybody can pull off that role, is our dear Robin Williams. Of course he can play a grown man who acts like a child, right? Now the movie was, like I said, was released in August of '96 and was universally panned by critics. To this day it has a score of 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I say baloney. Watch it, because I guarantee you're going to have a really good time with it. Now this is a movie where Williams showcases his talent. He showcases his range. From comedy to sentimental, the guy could do it all. I personally miss him, and I'll be honest in saying that he was actually the first celebrity death in which I shed a tear as soon as I heard the news of his passing. Now, I remember as a kid watching Robin do his thing, reruns of Mork and Mindy, and, you know, since then I fell in love with the guy and watched all his movies ever since. Jack, of course, was one of them.
And thanks, Manny, for that and for being part of this video. So guys, after Good Will Hunting, Robin Williams went on to do 2 more dramas, Patch Adams and What Dreams May Come. Patch Adams was another hit for Williams, playing the real-life doctor, Dr. Patch Adams. Patch Adams used his sense of humor as a means of treatment. Patch Adams, I gotta say, isn't one of my favorite Robin Williams movies. It's pretty sappy and it just didn't really do it for me. But it was still a hit, and again, it showcased what Robin Williams could do as an actor. And What Dreams May Come turned out to be a box office disappointment and failed miserably to resonate with audiences and critics. However, again, many still talk about the highlight of the movie was Williams' performance. And then came a role that just came completely out of nowhere. He's never played a character like this before, and that is playing the disturbed Cy, a photo lab technician who latches onto what he considers the perfect family when he finds out the husband is cheating on his wife, and he goes to measures to try to protect both the wife and her son. And this is a huge risk. I mean, think about a risk for Robin Williams to take a role like this. It's such a dark role to take when he's known to be this lighthearted, comedic performer. Some loved his shift in this role while others were completely turned off by it. However, One Stop Photo was a modest hit, and his performance led the way to Chris Nolan casting him as a psychopath being hunted down by Al Pacino in Insomnia.
She wouldn't stop laughing.
You ever had somebody laugh at you when you're like that? Well, I mean, when you're really vulnerable.
Laughing their ass off at you. Someone you thought respected you.
You ever have that happen, Will? I just wanted to stop her laughing, that's all. And then,
I hit her.
a couple of times, just to stop her, let her know, get a little respect. And
When asked why he took these two dark roles, he said he wanted to see where he could go as an actor and expand his range. Now, after dealing his hands with multiple dramas and these thrillers, Robin Williams again felt he needed a change of pace, and he switched back to doing a string of comedies. From the animated movie Robots to RV to Man of the Year, and of course, we can't forget his portrayal as Teddy Roosevelt.
Someone call my name.
Whoa.
Theodore Roosevelt at your service.
In 2010, he said he decided he wanted to turn his focus back to TV.
I'm back.
So he started doing some TV work with guest performances on Wilford, and he had some guest spots on Louie with Louis C.K. And he said he loved the experience. In fact, in 2013, his first sitcom in over 30 years came with The Crazy Ones. A lot of people haven't heard about this show. It was a very short-lived sitcom show and was canceled after its first season. Now, somebody was telling me that it's on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon. I haven't checked for myself, but I am curious to check it out. Let me know, guys, if you've seen The Crazy Ones. I would really like to know what you thought about it. Leave your comments down below in the comment section. Robin Williams decided to go back to movies. However, this time he wanted to take smaller roles and with smaller, more independent movies. In 2014, he played a gay man living as a married man in Boulevard. Next, he played in The Angriest Man in Brooklyn, which I caught on USA Network, and I loved it. His performance was fantastic in that movie, and he really held the movie together. And then, guys, in 2014, he gave us his last performance in a featured film with the third installment of Night at the Museum, playing Teddy Roosevelt once again.
Smile, my boy. It's sunrise.
Now, guys, we've all heard stories of Robin Williams battling alcoholism and drug abuse throughout his career, and I'm not going to get too much involved in this, but yet Robin Williams did conquer it. He was sober for close to 20 years, but his real enemy was depression. If you have not dealt with chronic depression yourself, or if you aren't close to someone who deals with chronic depression, you honestly can't identify with how horrible this disease is. It can completely suffocate your life and the lives of the loved ones around you. And this is why many comedians like Robin Williams turn so close to comedy. It's an outlet for dealing with their internal pain, and this was true with Robin Williams. However, on August 11th, 2014, we all got the sad news. We all remember where we were when we heard of Robin Williams passing. It was such a shock. And it was for a long time contributed to his depression. His wife recently, Susan Williams, she revealed that Williams was really diagnosed with an early stage of Parkinson's disease and early stages of dementia. Robin Williams touched all of us in one way or another by his performances on screen or on the stage. And right now I want to take the time for some of my fellow YouTubers and a couple people that I know who give podcasts on film to let you guys know how they were affected by Robin Williams personally.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Jarrell Blue. Thank you, Bluray Junkies, for having me. It's an honor to sit here and talk about Robin Williams. So Robin Williams, to me, was an actor I couldn't get enough of. He could have released a movie every single month in the year, and I'd probably watch all of them, and there would have been no sense of oversaturation whatsoever. He was that amazing at what he did. I think for a lot of us, majority of us would say that Robin Williams kind of raised us through his movies. Even the movies that a lot of people or critics may not enjoy, he was fantastic in. Like Death to Smoochie. A lot of people are not big fans of that movie, but me and my mom, you know, we keep it to ourselves, but we love that movie to death. I loved Hook. I love Dead Poet Society. I mean, who doesn't? Mrs. Doubtfire. When I was 10, it was the first time I realized how extraordinary Robin Williams was. It was the first time I saw Good Morning Vietnam. And it was the first time that I realized how hard acting could be. Because that was the first time that I realized that Robin Williams could do anything. Robin Williams was the kind of actor that transcended everyone. He possessed the power that I believe that he didn't even know he had. He didn't box himself in. He didn't take the same roles. He wanted to constantly challenge himself. His films, his movies, with our power, we're going to share them for generations to come. Oh, Captain, my Captain, you are immortal. We love you. We miss you. And before I get emotional, I'm going to end my part of this video. Again, thank you, Bluray Junkies, for having me. It was a damn pleasure. And be sure to check my channel out if this is the first time you're seeing me. Love you guys.
Hello, YouTube. This is Lance from Yes, Listen to This podcast, and my good friends over at Bluray Junkies asked for me to give a quick talk about Mr. Robin Williams. Robin Williams was a man of many talents. He created so many iconic characters on screen that he will never be duplicated. He will always be remembered for his contribution to the film industry. Mr. Williams may not be with us anymore, but his legacy on film will always live on for many generations. I will always remember watching him on Mork and Mindy. He had such a talent for entertaining his audience. His comedic performances weren't all that he was known for in the many years on screen. He had many serious roles that only a true artist could actually perform. Robin Williams was a man of many faces and characters. His legacy will live on, and he may be missed by many fans, but he will never be forgotten. Rest in peace, Mr. Williams. We will continue to adore your legacy.
Now, if I were to describe Ron Williams, I would say he's so likable, very hilarious. He brings such charm to his performances, and his personality skyrockets off the roof. And that's why I think a lot of us were affected by this, to see someone like that just gone so soon, especially growing up with all his movies like Mrs. Doubtfire, the voice of the genie in Aladdin, and one of my personal favorites, right over here, Jumanji. Every time I watch this movie, it brings such a smile to my face. And when I think about him, I think about this movie because it's a special place in my heart. Robin Williams, you will be deeply missed.
What is there to say about Robin Williams that hasn't already been said? I mean, the guy was a legend. Every movie I can think of from my childhood had Robin Williams in it, from Aladdin to Mrs. Doubtfire, Jumanji, Toys, Hook, one of my favorite movies, which, how does that movie have a rotten rating on Rotten Tomatoes? Robin Williams was my childhood.
I mean, we saw a great evolution as an actor from Robin Williams from his time starting out on Mork and Mindy, where he's just kind of a weird, bizarre guy, to musicals like Popeye, which I grew up with, and things like Adventures of Baron Munchausen, where he plays the King of the Moon, to more dramatic roles in Dead Poet Society and Good Will Hunting.
And also The Birdcage, which isn't a drama. It's just sort of this wacky, out there comedy that we didn't appreciate when we were growing up. But now as adults, we can look back and say, oh my God, that was amazing. And he's amazing in it.
Yeah, and one of my mother's personal favorite films, The Fisher King, where Robin Williams plays this homeless man, who's out and bizarre, but he shows that he had heart even back then, back in 1991, as far back. And then, of course, Aladdin, where he shows his, of course, voice talent that has ranged all kinds of characters from all kinds of eras.
And I think Aladdin, for me, growing up in the age of the golden era of Disney, Aladdin is top 3 for me. And I know it's probably top 3 for you as well. Robin Williams makes that movie what it is. He's the comic relief, but he also had this ability to not only be funny, but he could touch your soul and touch your heart. And I feel like when Robin Williams died, it was that you don't know what you've got until it's gone sort of thing that we experience in life. It's such a loss for film fans, and it's such a loss for comedy as well.
Yeah, it's the guys who so outwardly brought joy into our lives. We never know what goes on behind the scenes and what demons they battle and what tragedy actually exists when they're not on the screen. We only know their public figure. And his public figure was something that affected our lives greatly and the lives of so many, and he will always be missed.
And we will definitely never, ever forget Robin Williams in our lives.
As a film lover, what does Robin Williams mean to me? He means a lot because he put everything into his roles, emotion. The movie that really, besides like Aladdin, Good Will Hunting, the movie that really resonated me with him emotionally was Jack. Now, some people will say it's not his best film. There's just something that connected, and you feel for him, and it was something I really enjoyed. He will always be in our hearts as film lovers and as anyone who just enjoyed him entertaining as the genie, as Mrs. Doubtfire. He's an incredible talent. Well, we miss you, Robin.
Senor Robin Williams, we miss you dearly. Your death was a great loss to the world of cinema and my childhood. Nanu nanu. Thank you, Bluray Junkies, for having me on, and I'll see you guys next time.
But now we want to turn our attention to you. Let us know down below what you thought of Robin Williams. What was your favorite performance from him? What's your favorite movie from him? Leave your comments down below. We'd love to hear from you. And also, guys, I want to thank so much for my YouTuber friends and Lolo Love Films, and yes, listen to my podcast for helping me with this video. I'm leaving the links to their channels and their podcasts down below in the description, so definitely check them out. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Definitely hit that like button, comment your comments, and subscribe for future videos. And we'll see you next time.